Hi, kitty cats. Okay, another story of woman in science. This time is Marjory Stoneman Douglas, and she was a writer and conservationist. She was born. She was born in 1890 in Minneapolis. So, in the late 1940s, Florida's Everglades were seen as a nuisance, just one big swamp that needed draining. The only thing that prevented the destruction of the wetlands was a feisty woman named Marjory Stoneman Douglas. Marjory was born in 1890 in Minneapolis and graduated from Lesley College. She always wanted to be a writer, and after ending a bad marriage, she got a job at the Miami Herald, where her father also worked. She started her career as a society reporter in 1915. Her father used his status as editor of the newspaper to talk about politics and criticize the governor's plan to drain the Everglades. As a result, Marjory understood how powerful words could be, and she began to use her own writing to talk about civil rights, the suffrage movement, and environmental conservation. Ernest Coe, a fellow conservationist, asked Marjory to help save the Everglades. Although the land was no place for a picnic, too buggy, too wet, Marjory fell in love with its natural beauty. She discovered that the Everglades was not just a swamp, but a river that is vital to Florida's ecosystem. She published The Everglades River of Grass in 1947. The book and Marjory became famous. Her work led directly to the creation of Everglades National Park. Although the government began to protect the Everglades, Marjory needed to protect the land from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, whose agricultural dams and canals were disrupting the ecosystem. A proposed jetport project threatened its destruction. Marjory's gumption and expert knowledge of the land ensured her a win. In 1969, she started the Friends of the Everglades organization and halted construction. Marjory continued her work well into 1990s. Despite being nearly blind, she continued to write and fight for the Everglades. Her energy and passion only increased, and she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1993. She died at age of 108 in 1998. Wow, she lived a long time. So the Everglade is home to alligators, manatees, and many species of birds and fish. Marjory understood that there is no other Everglades in the world. It is a unique and delicate ecosystem. Her ashes were scattered over her national park. The Everglades' wide, shallow waterway moves very slowly, a phenomenon called sheet flow. She became known for her floppy hat and dark round glasses. Worked as a Red Cross nurse in Europe during World War I. And she gave us new insight into the ecosystem of wetlands. She founded the Friends of Conservationists, Suffragists. She founded the Friends of the Everglades. She was a conservationist, suffragist, and advocate for the civil rights. Her work helped to establish Everglades National Park. I'd like to hear less talk about men and women and more talk about citizens. That's what she says, Marjory Stoneman Douglas. So she was a remarkable woman, that helped save the Everglades. That's for now. That is all for now, and we will read some more later. Meanwhile, sleep tight, good night, and don't let the bed bugs bite. Love you. Mwah.